Welcome, everybody, to the 2025 WNBA Finals presented by YouTube TV. We'll begin with remarks from Commissioner Cathy Engelbert, and then we'll turn it over to question and answer. Please have your phones on silent or vibrate. Kathy, if you would, please.
Great. Thank you, Ron. It's great to be here. Good evening, everyone. WNBA Finals ready to tip off Game 1. It's our 29th WNBA Finals. Exciting night here in Las Vegas as the Aces prepare to take on Phoenix Mercury in the first ever best-of-7 finals series. The Aces have been on a remarkable run from winning 21 of their last 24 games to pulling off an incredible overtime victory in a decisive Game 5 just earlier this week, and their season definitely has been defined as resilience. On the other side, you have the Mercury, a team that has embodied toughness, togetherness, and belief all year long to get here. So I think WNBA fans everywhere can feel it. This has the makings of a finals to remember. So congratulations to both teams. I want to take a moment to address some important conversations happening across the WNBA, including remarks made earlier this week by Napheesa Collier. First, let me repeat this. You saw it in my statement, but I have the utmost respect for Napheesa and for every single player in our league. They are at the center of everything we do. I was disheartened to hear that some players feel the league and me personally do not care about them or listen to them. And if the players in the W don't feel appreciated and valued by the league, then we have to do better and I have to do better. We know how great the players are on and off the court, how much they mean to our league, our fans, and our communities. If they don't feel that, I will do everything I can to change that. No one should ever doubt how deeply I care about this league, this game, and every single player who makes the WNBA what it is. So we value feedback, we listen to criticism, we remain committed to engaging in the difficult, necessary conversations that ultimately make us all stronger and better. As it relates to officiating and gameplay on the court, we hear the concerns, we take them seriously. Our game is faster, featuring more talent, and the game is more competitive than ever before. And with that evolution, game rules, interpretation, and officiating has to keep pace. Every major sport goes through this. Rules evolve, officiating adapts, standards shift. Alongside the growth of the game, the WNBA is no different. At the conclusion of the season, as we do every year, the league's competition committee will meet to evaluate the state of the game, which includes game rules, officiating, and player safety on the court. The Players Association and players, as always, are invited to engage. Also, beyond that, we are establishing a multi-stakeholder task force, call it like a state of the game committee, inviting player voices and other stakeholders to that table to ensure that our officiated platform evolves in step with the growth of the league. We'll have more details on that in the coming weeks. And referees and their work serve the game. That service at the highest level requires alignment with its stakeholders to perform and be held accountable to that performance based on that alignment. I think it's pretty clear that we're misaligned currently on what our stakeholders want from officiating. We have heard loud and clear we have not lived up to that needed alignment and that attention and change needed to serve the WNBA to the level of excellence that is not currently being met in the various stakeholders' eyes. There are no greater stakeholders than our players. Their voice is integral to the alignment that is required for good officiating, and we look forward to including their perspectives on how our staff can better serve the game moving forward. So through the competition committee and the state of the game committee I've mentioned, we will take a hard look at what the proper line should be for good, aggressive play that we recognize has evolved into rough play, and how to calibrate the line for legal and illegal contact to ensure player safety and exciting competition. We owe it to the players, our fans, and the next generation to keep building a movement that not only showcases the best athletes in the world, but also inspires millions who dream of following in their footsteps. That's the mission, that's the heart of the WNBA, and that's what unites us all, players, coaches, fans, and partners in pushing this game forward. We all love this game immensely. Together, we've made incredible progress. We've eclipsed previous records, we've expanded our footprint, and we've bolstered the position of our league. And since I know you will ask me about the CBA, I want to briefly cover this. We continue to meet and have important conversations with the Players Association. I want to reiterate that we want much of the same things that the players want. We want to significantly, and I mean significantly, increase their salary and benefits, while also supporting the long-term growth and viability of the WNBA. We have made proposals to that end. We have been meeting regularly throughout the summer and playoffs, and we will continue to negotiate in good faith until we get a transformative deal done. So in closing, these finals mark the end of what has been a landmark season for the WNBA, a season defined not just by the remarkable play on the court, but by the passion, the investment, and the belief in what this league can become. There is still much work, and we welcome that, because the WNBA has always been about building something bigger than the game itself. And we know the best way forward is together. And one last item, a big shout out to my team. I am so blessed working with so many amazing colleagues at the league office. When I came in, we had very few people working in the W. Now we have hundreds working tirelessly on behalf of the league and the players, and thousands if you include the teams. I have so much gratitude in times like this, how great our team is and how hard they work. They are the best in women's sports, for sure, and they have shined over the last couple of years with their broad capabilities, innovative thinking, stellar execution, and endless passion for doing their best for the players in this game. With that, I'm happy to take your questions.
All right, we'll begin. Cathy, if you would, third row to your left.
Hey, Cathy, Doug Feinberg of the Associated Press. There's a lot to unpack in that statement you just said, so I'll try to give something quickly here. Two-parter. One is, CBA deadline is the 31st of October. Are you expecting to be done by then or maybe have an extension? And the second part is the Connecticut Sun sale. You didn't address it all in your thing. Where does that stand potentially of having that team either stay in Connecticut or go somewhere else?
So on the October 31st deadline, we're working really hard. Have a couple meetings just next week. We had one this week. Working really hard to exchange proposals and make some progress. And, you know, while I hope we make the October 31st deadline, and that is a real deadline from that perspective, we have extended deadlines in the past. I know last time when I was only a couple days on the job, we got to an extension and got a deal done. That was progressive at the time. So again, I feel confident that we can get a deal done, but if not, I think we could do an extension. And, you know, I don't think, you know, hopefully that the Players Association, we will continue to work hard between now and the end of the month. On Connecticut, the tribe continues to evaluate its strategic options as it relates to what they want to do as far as continuing as majority owners, selling majority investments, selling the entire team. So we receive periodic updates from them, but there's no decision been made yet from their perspective on how they're strategically looking at their next steps.
Cathy, next question. Standing to your right.
Hi, Cathy. Malika Andrews, ESPN. I just wanted to get some clarity on some of the specifics that Nafisa Collier said about your conversation that you had that was previously private. Did you in fact say that, quote, players should be on their knees thanking their lucky stars for the rights deal that I got them?
There's a lot of inaccuracy out there through social media and all this reporting. And so I think what's most helpful is to focus on, I have been in touch with Nafisa. We've exchanged texts. We're talking next week. So I think, obviously, a lot of reporting, a lot of inaccuracy about what I said or what I didn't say. And I will tell you, I highly respect the players. There's a lot of emotion and passion going on right now because we're in collective bargaining. We're in the WNBA Finals. And so I'll leave it there. I mean, I'm just obviously disheartened. You know, I'm a human too. I have a family. I have two kids who are devastated by these comments. And so all I'll say is just, you know, it's obviously been a tough week. And I just think there's a lot of inaccuracy out there.
And I will absolutely respect that piece of it. I did want to follow up, though, and ask, I think that the growing sentiment around the league, right, is that players, they feel that the right leadership isn't in place right now in the league office. So do you feel that you're still the right voice and expect to continue to be commissioner beyond this CBA? Thank you.
I certainly, that's another inaccurate statement out there that everybody reads and takes clickbait on. Obviously, I've never been a quitter. I'm entering my 40th year, actually, this month in business. never been a quitter, never shied away from tough situations. I think leadership cream always rises to the top, and I've always been someone who believes in the fact that if there's things we need to fix, we're going to fix them. If there are things the players have a perspective on that they don't like that we're doing or I'm doing, we'll fix them, Malika. So I think there's a point in time when obviously there's a lot of, and I said emotion, passion, whatever you want to call it, about what's going on right now. The league has grown enormously over the last 5 years. It's incredible what these players have done day in and day out, and they deserve all the credit. But as I said, my staff and the staff of the teams and the in this league have made tons of investments to get to where we are today. And so I'm not going to shy away. I'm the commissioner of this league, the leader of this league. I think we've accomplished a lot, but we have a lot more hard work to do. There's so many more things we can do together, and I hope that the players see that. And I'm certainly, looking forward to meeting with them in the off season as we get to the next level, especially with so many great things that are going to happen in the off season into next season.
Kathy, our next question will come from the front row to your right.
Hey, Kathy, Kareem Copeland,
Kareem.
Washington Post. Still going on that same plane, you'll do anything you can to kind of repair this relationship. What steps will you take to try to repair the relationship with the players? Because obviously that's got to be something that you guys have to be partners in this whole thing.
Yeah, I think it starts with Nafisa and I will sit down and chat. I've also communicated with a lot of other players this week who have been great. Obviously, we've got the finals going on here. We've got some announcements, some end of season awards coming up as well. So I've been talking to players who are on those lists, and the players have been great overall, I think. So I feel confident that we can repair any loss of trust. I think, again, as we sit here in heavy bargaining discussions, I think, again, we want everything that the players want from the perspective of significant increases in salaries and benefits, and I hope all the players will engage and know what proposals we put on the table. And I think now's the time to do that as we get up to the season and then into the end of this calendar year. So yeah, we'll dialogue with players. I mean, one-on-one relationships, groups of relationships. Players have reached out to me, obviously. So have a lot of people in the basketball ecosystem about all the momentum we have and how important it is to continue that momentum. And I think together we need to move forward. So appreciate the question, Kareem.
Kathy, our next question will come to your right in the third row. If you would raise your hand when you're called on, please.
Hi, Kathy. Jackie Powell with the 9 Basketball. A trend we've seen this season has been the increase in injuries. According to the 9 Basketball's database of injuries were up 36% this year. And even in the WNBA's own numbers that were shared with Bloomberg, they say they were up 29%. So amid change to officiating and what could come of that, I guess, what is the league prepared to do to address this increase in injuries going forward?
Yeah, it's an excellent question. Obviously, injuries are the worst part of sports, in my view, especially injuries that occur due to the physicality. I think our game is bigger, faster, stronger, certainly even in the last 5 years since I've come in to the league. I think the training, the development, the strength and conditioning, the nutrition, everything that's going into the level of the players that a lot of our fans like is also adding to that physicality. And that's why I said in my prepared remarks, I mean, we have to determine where the players want that line to be, because I think they want some of that, but obviously don't want injuries. And fortunately, in other sports too, that injuries are part of that, and we have to do everything, use of technology too, and wearables and other things that can help determine research on injuries and when they're happening, and some of these non-contact injuries as well, more evaluation and research as it relates to that. So yes, we'll be studying a lot of that as we go into using our experts and our physicians, our sports medicine doctors, things like that, to determine what's the best path forward. But I think ultimately it's going to come back to working with the players as to what that line is that we talked about on the physicality of the game. Because while some of the injuries were non-contact, some of them are through the physicality of the game. So I think that's something we're obviously going to study, look at the data, and see everything we can do to help with the player safety aspect of that.
Kathy, next question to your left in the second row.
Hey, Kathy. Ben Pickman with The Athletic. Two questions. One point of clarification, is the meeting with Fee in person or is it a virtual meeting?
We haven't determined yet. We just said, let me get through the beginning of the finals, and we'll talk next week.
Got it. And what role is Adam Silver playing in the CBA negotiation?
Again, Adam has been a great supporter of mine through, he was the one who had the idea to have a commissioner, reporting to the Board of Governors, the owners. And so, Adam, of course, I give him updates periodically, but he's not in the bargaining room. It's me and my team and our negotiators and our lawyers and their staff at the PA, and then sometimes players, sometimes not in the meetings. So, but I give Adam periodic updates, and he's been very supportive of how we're thinking about, the substantial increase in player salaries and benefits. And by the way, there's 30 other things as part of the CBA, but I realize the number one thing the players are focused on, which is why I have been listening, is increases in salaries and benefits.
Kathy, next question, third row center.
Hi, Kathy. Christina Williams here, iHeartMedia. I was just wondering, do you have any updates with the expansion drafts for the two new teams coming in 26?
Yeah, so obviously we need to get a collective bargaining agreement done before we will probably have those expansion drafts, as well as the draft lottery. So those are the two things we usually do before the calendar year end, leading into the free agency and ultimately the draft in the spring. So we have given our general manager some guidance on how we're thinking, but until we get the collective bargaining agreement done, it won't be finalized as to the format or process. But you can expect, because you saw what we did last year, something similar.
Just a note, I do see a lot of hands raised, and we will do our best to get to as many as you can. Please be patient with us. Kathy, next question, second row, all the way to your right.
Holly Rowe, ESPN. You talked about evaluating officiating at the end of the season. We have 7 games in front of us. What, if any, conversation have you had with the supervisor of officials and the officials who will officiate these games for what we should expect in the next 7 potential games?
Yeah, we've had a lot of conversations over towards the end of the regular season, into the first and second rounds of the playoffs already, the semifinals, with our officiating staff, the leadership, to talk through exactly the evaluation, the accountability. Again, I think there's, everybody has their opinion on officiating in every sport. I know I have 5 brothers. They have lots of opinions on officiating in every sport that I've been hearing since I was a little girl. But yeah, it's certainly something we're talking about. Obviously, the officials are evaluated I didn't know this till I came to sports, every non-call and call is evaluated for every game during the season. This isn't something like we blow off, they're evaluating every call and non-call. So think about that. That's every play in every game. Film is reviewed, there's training, there's officiating, there's points of emphasis, obviously. So we continue to have those discussions with officiating crews, even here in the finals.
Kathy, next question, second row to your right.
Kathy, when it goes to CBA negotiations, what would you say specifically are the things that the players are asking for right now? We've heard, like you just said, that their priorities are salary structure, rev share, that the owners feel like you're not saying eye to eye on, or they can't, I guess, right now say yes to.
Yeah, I think it's all about balancing the significant increase in salaries and benefits with the long-term viability of the league. We've made proposals with significant rev share components already in the money share components, as I reported. I guess it was at All-Star. They're obviously bargaining for more. And so we're just trying to obviously balance looking out many years, because the CBAs are typically several years long, whether it's 8 years, 6 years, whatever you want to call it. So looking out to make sure that, and I think the players want this too, that the next generation of players that come after them have a viable league to play in. So that's what we're just kind of going back and forth, determining where that right balance is. And so I think we all agree we're trying to return every dollar we possibly can to the players, but we also want to incentivize investment from owners. We want owners to have a viable business. And obviously, we're looking at expansion up to 18 teams by the end of the decade. So that's important that those owners coming in have a shot at a viable economic model for the future. And so that's the balance. The balance is between, I would return every single dollar we possibly can, and we will, but balancing that with making sure our owners are incentivized to continuing investment. You saw what LA announced on their practice facility. Obviously, we have lots of other player experience investments going on by many of our owners. We want to continue to have that incentivized because that actually has helped player health and safety, including the charter program, et cetera. So it's memorializing that too, and making sure that we're providing the best environment for players and that our owners are continue to invest.
Cathy, next row, second row, I'm sorry, next question, second row center.
Hi, Kathy. Annie Costable, Front Office Sports. You've continued to express that you're disheartened by the characterization of your conversation with Nafisa Collier. Just again, seeking clarity. Did you in fact say that Caitlin Clark should be grateful she makes $16 million off the court because without the platform that the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything? And do you actually feel that way, that without this platform, players like Caitlin Clark wouldn't be making what they do off the court?
Yeah, obviously, I did not make those comments. Caitlin has been a transformational player in this league. She's been a great representative of the game. She's brought in tens of millions of new fans to the game, proud of what she's put on the court. Unfortunately, the injuries held her back from a full season this year. But again, I'm not going to get into every point, counterpoint. It's not productive here. We're here to celebrate the WNBA Finals. I think what Indiana just did was amazing with all the injuries they had and the everything this year, bringing that to a Game 5 in overtime. But yeah, as I said, there's a lot of inaccuracies reported out there, and I certainly did not say that.
All right, this will be our final question. Cathy, front row center.
Hey, Kathy, this is Megan Hall with USA Today. Obviously, if a CBA doesn't get done, there's a potential lockout that could happen. So how does the W plan to manage, I guess you could say, continue to manage the growth the league has experienced from a marketing standpoint, from a storytelling standpoint, while potentially handling a lockout?
Yeah, it's an excellent question, whether it's a lockout, strike, there's deadlines, there's extensions that could be done. All I'll say is, it's a very good question because you want to make sure you're capitalizing on all this momentum that we've built up over the last 5 years or so, and that are really driving viewership into our game and fandom. And I mean, I'm just, we did this Line 'em Up initiative this year where we painted the WNBA three-point line on inner city courts around the country. And I mean, to see the young girls now be able to see like role models like the WNBA players and to attract them to the game and to let them stay in sports. I mean, this is all the important stuff of why we need to get this transformational CBA done as soon as we can, because that's where you see the potential for the future of this game. So yeah, it's a balancing act. Again, I feel confident we are going to get a deal done, but obviously we have a ways to go and we'll work as hard as we can around the clock. I mean, Terry Jackson and I have talked about, working as hard as we can, like we did last time. We did extend it a few months last time to get it done by January. So we've been here before. We've have a lot of experience in these negotiations, even well before I got here, but now, this one. So again, yes, it's a balance, and we want to make sure no interruption. But obviously that'll be up to the players and our owners. But I think we're on a path to get, again, what I think will be a very good deal and fair deal for all done.
Cathy, thank you. To our media, thank you. As a reminder, this will be the room for post-game reviews.
Enjoy the finals, everyone.